Hey, thank you so much for tuning in today and welcome to my podcast studio. Before we start on today's episode, I just wanted to take a quick moment to say I am truly grateful for you being here. It means the world to me and my guest for us to be able to share our conversation with you. If you do like what we're talking about, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. And if we do talk about something that you either agree or disagree with, please put it in the comments. We would love to hear your feedback. Also, please don't forget, I do a lot more than just podcasts. So every Tuesday, I'll put out a drum playthrough. I'll also documenting my journey on writing my solo album, which will feature a lot of guests that have been on the podcast. I'm also putting up a lot of tips and tricks of stuff that we do talk about in some of the podcasts, like insights that I get from some of the guests that share their journey in the music industry. Once again, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And again, please don't forget to subscribe. Let's get into it.
You don't want to hear my voice that much.
Sitting here looking like a radio broadcast or something.
You feel like it with these mics, don't you?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah, you feel more important when you've got this little...
Yeah, well, especially with the bloody phone and everything like that.
Yeah, it's good.
Point it right down there, I think.
It's good. It's all about sort of pointing the phone directly at your mouth, so you know it's it's in the right spot.
There you go.
Well, you got a lot of foam sitting on your
chin. I know. Everyone loves the beard, though. Eh? I've got so many comments on the weekend about it. People come up and bloody grabbing your beard like this. Oh, it's so fluffy. And then I got called the futuristic Ned Kelly. I was like, I'm not big enough to be Ned Kelly. I've got the beard for it, but I don't have the structure.
Right.
And like, well, come on, give yourself some credit. I'm like, no, mate, come on. Ned Kelly's Ned Kelly. I'm just me.
You're just Jake Bedford.
Yeah, with a really big beard. I need to trim. I need to trim though, so it's going good. It's all right.
So what happened on the weekend?
This weekend is gone. It was a really big one, man. Well, we went and saw Jay's band.
Cool.
On Friday night. They were really cool, man. Really brutal sounding though.
Very, yeah.
Seriously brutal. Like they are something different. And their new drummer's awesome. That young guy, Matt.
Yeah, he's next level, man.
He's real cool, man. But yeah, no, we were there on Friday night and had a bit of a geezer there, and Remission were playing.
They're good too, eh?
Yeah, man, they're really cool. I'd love to jump on a gig with them. And yeah, so it was a bit of a bender after that. And then Saturday night, we went to a gig at Vision Studios. They run the monthly Mosh in a Sanatorium.
Oh, yeah.
The all ages gig.
Yep.
So yeah, we went to that and then went to Hornography after that, Lucy's Love Shack. Another big night.
Oh, busy weekend, man.
Busy week.
A lot of music.
My body's...
It's like
my body's paying for it.
Your eardrums would be like fucked, hey.
That's the thing, like they're still ringing. Like literally, like as a musician, you'd think you would take your own earplugs. Every time I go to a gig, I forget to take my earplugs. You know, and especially because I've got some nice ones sitting at home as well, like the actual proper musician earplugs. But I still constantly forget to take them, so I'm like, yeah, is what it is. But you deal with it for a few days and catch you later. So
yeah, it's just one of the things you don't want to sort of keep doing, because like one day it's just going to take longer and longer for the well, I think it's like your hairs, the small tiny hairs in your eardrum or something that gets all.
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm already like 15% deaf in my left ear. I think I was told a few years ago. Yeah, because when I was young, when I first started music, I was playing with these Marshall stacks because I play the drums so loud and so hard. My guitarists and stuff like that would have to point the stacks at me so I could hear them when we were in the jam room. But I wasn't wearing earplugs. I was young and dumb, and because of that, got some issues in this ear. I've been told. You know, when you go get the hearing test, and so yeah. Is what it is, man. That one constantly rings, especially when you go to sleep. You can hear it. Yeah.
Oh man.
That's good. Yeah, and because of that, I get struggle with sleep, insomnia. You know, especially these days. I think last week I probably had. I think I counted maybe 15 hours sleep the whole week.
What?
Yeah. I'm not even shitting you. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like 2 hours per day. 2 hours per
I'm lucky
24 hours.
Yeah. Well, like last night, I fell asleep. I think it was about probably maybe 11. And last night was actually a pretty good sleep, considering. And, yeah, I woke up, I think it was about 2:30. And I've been awake since then. I couldn't get back to sleep.
So what do you do? What do you do during the night?
I just started watching YouTube videos. I love watching cooking videos. I watch cooking all the time.
Nice.
I love food and I love cooking, so I watched a lot of Gordon Ramsay, eating challenges. I love the eating challenges. You know, there's people just having these bombarded plates of food. I watched one last night where this guy, Randy Santel, he's over in America. I think he's like the world's best competitive eater. He ate this 24-pound. Yeah, we gets paid for it.
Yeah, I know.
But this burger
sounds so crazy.
It was so big. I think it was 24 pounds or something like that. This burger was. It was huge.
That's like 12 kilos, man.
Yeah. Like I'm not even shitting you.
What the hell?
Yeah, he fucking demolished it. Like absolutely smashed it. So I was like, how the hell can he even fit that in his stomach? Yeah.
How can you fit 12 kilos in your...
But he does it every
belly?
day. Every day he's going to a different place and doing eating challenges every day. That's his job. He gets paid for it. It's ridiculous. So,
that would be so bad for you, man. Surely.
He actually used to be a professional athlete. He was a gridiron player. And I saw some older photos of him, like when he was younger, and really fit. Like he was super solid, super fit. These days he's not as solid, but I think once a year or twice a year he'll have a bit of a break and go and drop the weight again. Yeah, and get back to square one. So, but yeah, cooking shows, eating competitions. I've got my playlist of videos where I watch like local bands around here as well.
Yeah, good.
And I also do that just to try and get ideas as well.
Any favorite bands?
Well, yeah, actually, Amberdown. I think they're number one on my playlist in terms of their videos.
Oh, cool.
I love their songs called "Hole in the Floor."
Yeah,
you know the song.
That's like the super hit.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's such a cool song. Cool video too.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I love them. My bass player's band Silent Night. Love watching their videos. My favourite one of them is Power Metal Supreme. They done an amplifier years ago. I think it was 2015 or 2014 they done it.
Yep.
I'm still trying to find a lot more local bands to watch because, Tempest Rising's new videos are really cool.
Oh, the one in the cinema?
Yeah, man. Yeah, where they done it with, what's that bloody, Slim, someone Slim, the guy in the video.
The guy who's in the audience.
Yeah.
I don't know who he is, man. Sorry.
Slim Jim. That's the one. Yeah, Slim Jim. Yeah. But yeah, that one. Like, I really love how
it's a wicked song too, man. Like the song.
It starts with nothing, and he's eating the ice cream.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, there's nothing but just brutality straight away with their music.
Yeah.
And it's just right in your face. I was like, yeah, this is so good.
Yeah, I think out of all their songs, that's probably my favorite one. Like the actual song is so good, man. Like it's really technical, but sort of without being too much. But it's so good, but I think also like the visual aspect of the video sort of really enhances the song.
Yeah, I think if I'm correct, Vin the singer, he's shackled by the ankles or something like that.
They all are. Yeah.
Oh, they all are they?
So at the end, like the guy, Slim Jim, stands up and says, "Again."
Yeah.
And you can see they're just all
so they're his prisoners sort of thing.
Oh, they're like they're like a slave band. Like you come and you pay for them to perform, right?
Yeah, no, they're real cool.
But it's and the really cool thing about the video is it's sort of like it's a really basic setup, like they're playing at that theater, so and you have the guy sitting in the crowd and stuff. But visually, it's so raw. Man.
But see, Slim,
so good.
He had one of those chocolate coated ice creams where you get at the cinemas. Where the fuck did he get that ice cream from? Like, that's what I want to know, because it looked real fresh, and there's no way they would have been selling ice creams when they were doing the video shoot. So, the ones I'm talking about?
Yeah. I'm guessing they were just brought it in or something.
But since I watched that, I was like, I actually really want to go back to the cinema now and get one of those ice creams again. It makes you feel like a little kid. I love that shit. But one of their other ones was the one before that was Downfall.
The kebab metal.
Yeah, so it seems like they got something going on. Like, they obviously love food, but I don't know. Do you follow Vin, their singer, at all?
Yeah.
Did you see that the thing that he done in that the choir with the opera?
Yeah, so it's a part of Keshet, who is I've had him on the podcast a couple of times. He's written this opera / musical / theatrical production about the Holocaust.
Yeah, right.
Which is called, I think it's called like a Holocaust. I think that's what they call the whole production there. And previously, before that, he wrote an like a rock opera called The Dements, which also starred Vin. So Vin was playing one of the leads there.
Yeah, right.
That's actually how I heard about Vin the first time. I've known Keshet for 10, 11 years or something. He was one of the first musicians I met after I came to Perth.
Okay.
It's like his creativity is like on an absolute unreachable level. Like he's just so smart, man, and so talented. But so he's written all the songs, written all the what do you call it? Like all the orchestral part, like for all the brass sections and everything that you hear in the video. So he's written all of that.
Yeah, right.
And then he's gone out and obviously recruited the personnel to then fill in the different roles.
But see, like I've played with Vin's band a few times. Like I've had him on my gigs and stuff like that. And I mean, like, so in Tempest Rising, as you know, awesome voice, like really killer voice.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had a voice like that though.
No?
I was blown away. I sent him a message like, dude, you should be out there bloody making millions. Like, yeah, it's a crazy voice.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it.
Super nice guy as well, man.
Yeah. But then one of my mates, I showed one of my mates that video. The only thing that he got out of it, because my mate that I was talking to and showed him the video, I was like, dude, check out this guy. I showed him Tempest Rising first, and then I showed him in the opera thing that he'd done. Yeah. The only thing that he got out of it, he saw Vin's ear. He had what they call the cauliflower ear, which you get as a fighter.
Yeah.
He's like, is he a fighter or something? I was like, how'd you get that out of watching his music? You're not paying attention?
Well, you got the ice cream out of the other video.
Yeah, I know that, yeah. So actually, I did message Vin. I was like, look, my mates noticed you got a bit of cauliflower. Like, do you fight or something like that? And he's like, oh, no, back in the day, he was a boxer. I think he said he was a boxer when he was like 18, so like a fair while ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, out of the whole thing, cauliflower ear, I was like, come on, like, pay a bit more attention to the voice.
Because I never picked up on that myself, actually. I've got to go back and rewatch it.
Have to have a look at it. Yeah.
I haven't seen it, man.
And then you have a bit of a giggle. But, like, yeah, he's amazing.
Vin, if you're watching, we're going to come back and look for your cauliflower ear.
That's my bad now,
Everybody, public announcement, man.
Sorry, Vin, my bad, mate. It's my bad. So, I'll give you a beer next time I see you for that. That's all good.
So, but obviously, like, so one of the main reasons, like, we obviously want to chat about music, but another thing we wanted to talk about, like a couple of, what is it now, 2 months ago, I think we had we ended up having a bit of a very sort of brutally honest conversation about some stuff.
Yeah, it was a bit further than what you'd call a D&M.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more in depth about that. Yeah, it was a bit of a crazy day that was.
Yeah.
Bit of an eye-opener because, as I said, there was something that I don't really talk about to anyone. You're probably one of only handful of people I've really talked to about that sort of shit in depth. So
yeah,
and one of the things that you said was, wish we had a video or like a tape recorder here, but yeah,
and that again, like. The main reason why I said that was because, like, everything you told me on that day was something that I think a lot of people out there would really benefit to hear if they've gone through some of the same stuff.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, some people see me as like, oh, just happy Jake, but then some people also see me as angry Jake. I've always had that persona is angry because of my upbringing and stuff like that. I can't use my upbringing as an excuse for my persona, but that's just the way it's formed who I am. The thing that really makes me happy is my music. And when I'm out there playing my music, everyone sees a happy Jake. But most of the time outside of music, and on, unfortunately, like due to past relationships because of that, is angry Jake. And that's the thing that, only obviously my previous partners know about it. Obviously my kids know about it, and because of that as well, like I don't really class myself as a very good father because of who I am, and I kind of make excuses sometimes to try and steer away from that, like life, so that I don't have to say that, because that's what I was brought up with. And people just think, oh, no, well, he just doesn't want to be around his kids. I love my kids to death. And it's just, I don't want them to turn out the way I have in my life and done the things that I've done because of my anger issues or my substance abuse that I used to do and everything like that. I mean, obviously I still drink, but like I used to do things that I'm not proud of, that not a lot of people that know me these days actually know about. It's only in my past life that people know about that, my drug abuse and everything like that. The funny thing is, like, especially when I was hard on the drugs, going back, like years and years ago, that kind of started probably 2008, 2009, when I really got bad on it. I think it's bad. Other people say, well, yes, you took drugs, but it's not as bad as you think, because there's a lot of other people out there that are daily users. I wasn't like, but
it always comes down to what you compare it to.
Exactly, right. But the thing is, when I was doing that, I seemed to actually have everything that anyone would want. Like, so for instance, like when I was married, me and my ex-wife, we had, like, realistically, we had everything that anyone could ask for. We had a great life. We had all the toys, cars. We had our own place. I had my music gear, like drums and stuff like that, and lots of friends and this. But, in the background, I was abusing myself with drugs to hide, not hide, but numb the pain of my depression issues to do with my father. And his death and everything like that. And it seems like when I've tried to clean myself up, it's kind of gone backwards. Like from what I saw back in the day, when people clean themselves up, they get better in life. Well, it seems like mine's gone the opposite way. But that's because of the choices I've made, and I've pushed people away and I've hurt people in the past. And they're like, well, you've done your dust. We don't need to deal with you anymore. It doesn't matter. We don't care anymore. So it's like, still hurtful, you still think about that sort of thing, and you're still like, oh shit, why don't I just go back to that life, numb it again. But, I can't even fathom doing that anymore, because these days I look at a photo of myself now, and then I look at my photo for myself like 10 years ago. And I only actually done this about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I actually had a photo here and I had a photo here, and I looked at myself. I've always been a slim fella, like that's just my metabolism and my family history. But like the difference from over here when I was on drugs to over here is nearly unrecognizable. It was just like, and then I look at that, I was like, I don't want to be that anymore. I find myself as pretty healthy these days, and a lot happier. But, I've still got that fucked up mentality in my head because of shit in the past, like especially with my father and stuff like that, like we talked about. Like, one thing I actually didn't tell you about to do with my dad's death,
But that might be actually a good place to start. Like if you wanted to go back and sort of where everything sort of in your book where everything sort of started to.
Well, it all realistically started like I didn't have a female presence around us when I was growing up. My dad brought me and my brother up since I was fairly young. I think I was about 18 months old when my dad and my mum split up. And then pretty much once I started primary school, my dad stopped working. And we lived over in Sydney, over in Blacktown. Pretty rough area to grow up in over there. And from as far as I can remember, like I was walking myself to school, same as my brother. Lunches weren't being made. He wasn't getting up to get us ready. Like we were at school, we were classed as the poor kids, and even shit down to like washing clothes and stuff like that. Like we never got invited to I didn't. I don't know about my brother, but I never got invited to a birthday party for school and stuff like that because that's the way we were perceived as. Like, well, we don't want that kid coming. So that's the whole starting point. There was no female around to kind of pick up after my dad's uselessness. He's not that useless because he still brought me and my brother up, and we turned out pretty okay. Like we're doing all right. But so that happened. I played footy for 10 years growing up. My dad didn't come to one game. The whole thing with my footy is my home ground. If I jumped my fence, like literally my back fence, I was on my home ground. So all my dad had to do was literally just sit on the fucking back fence, and he could have still watched me. He just couldn't be bothered. He didn't do anything.
Wow.
And the thing that really hurt was because me and my dad were a lot closer and had a lot more in common than my brother and he did. But yet, like he coached my brother's cricket team when we were younger and stuff like that, and done that sort of thing where. Like, well, where was my time? But I was a very quiet kid back in the day, but I still had a temper. I was a little shit. I've always been a little shit. So gone through high school. That's when I started music, when I was in year 8. I started playing the drums at school with a couple of my mates. I started drumming when I was 8, but started playing music when I was in high school. And so it was pretty much either I was in the music room playing music or I'd go and wag school and catch it later.
Right.
So my music teacher used to make an excuse to keep me in the music room, so at least I'm at school and not out on the street getting in shit. I hated school. A lot of us
brilliant.
do. Yeah.
That's brilliant though.
Yeah. But my teacher, Mr. Evanoff, his name was. He was an awesome teacher. And some things that he kind of turned a blind eye to. I'm a cigarette smoker. I've been smoking since I was like 14, and we used to sit on the hill in front of the music room and sit there and woo the smoking crowd. And Mr. Evanoff would like turn a blind eye, like whatever. You're not doing anything bad. Still smoking, but yeah, no, he was a very good teacher. But it got to a point where I was in year 10, year 11. So my mum was asking me for several years at that point because she had to be moved over here with my stepdad. He got moved over here in the Navy at the time, and we would go over here, or we'd come over here once a year for Christmas. But for several years, she was asking me to move over here to try and give myself a better life. She was asking my brother as well, but my brother just was fucking not interested at all. And yeah, it got to a point in, I remember the day, I was in year 11, and I was in class, and I just had an epiphany. I was like, fuck this. I'm either going to be dead or in jail in the next five or so years if I keep going the way I am. And I literally just stood up out of my seat and just grabbed my shit and walked out. I remember the teacher telling me to sit down. I was like, nah, fuck this, I'm going. And my best mate, Matt, he was in another classroom. I just walked straight into their classroom and I was like, Matt, I'm going. You coming? He's like, yeah, fuck it, why not? So yeah, we both got up and left, and that was the last day I was at that school. But
how old were you?
So I would have been 15 going 16 then.
Right.
So Matt's mum was a prostitute as well, and obviously massive affiliation with the bikers and shit over there. But for my going away party, she's like, so she was the mum that I never had, sort of thing. Probably not the best mum to have, because she does some pretty dodgy shit. But she always cared about the kids. Like, that was the house to go to feel safe. But she's like, all right, we're going to have a going away party for Jake. And she's like, do you want to get some alcohol? I was like, fuck yeah, sweet. And at that time, the local tavern, the Quakers Inn, which is my dad's local, the restaurant side of it had burnt down. So they'd shut the whole part of it down. And so Matt's mum, Tess, has come up with this idea, like, oh, why don't we wait until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and you and Matt walk down there and fucking just go inside and bloody, see what you can get. And I was like, what do you mean? It's like, well, just fucking go and ransack the joint. They've still got shit in there. It's like, okay.
What?
Yeah. So, yeah, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. Me and Matt, all right, we're going to go. And then, so Matt's mum comes up. She's like, oh, she gave us both a glass of water each. I was like, oh, okay. So, had a glass of water. And I said to Matt, I was like, why am I walking really fast? Like, why am I talking really fast? What is going on? He's like, oh yeah, mum just put some speed in that water. I was like, you fucking what? So yeah, his mum put speed in the water so we could be alert and stay awake and go and rob this fucking pub. And so she ended up coming. Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. I wasn't told about it. That's how dodgy she was. Anyways, like, we've got down there and we ended up with like a couple of kegs and a few bottles of this and that and blah, blah. And she came and picked us up at like 4 o'clock in the morning this little shitty day with Lanos, when we loaded the car and me and Matt walked back. And yeah, had this massive party. And then, had the going away party, moved over here. So, but yeah, that was a real dodgy night, that one was. Real dodgy night. But,
that's crazy, man.
Yeah. So yeah, I moved over here. I told my dad a week beforehand that I wanted to move over with mum.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you want to do that to have something better, then I completely understand. Like, so as I said, like, even though my dad done fuck all for me, we still shared a lot in common. Like, he was a musician, he was a guitarist, I was a drummer. We both loved cars, all that sort of stuff, sports. So yeah, the day came that like I was leaving. So all of my mates were all jumping on the train to go to the airport over in Sydney. And I remember my brother was in playing his fucking computer game. And I walked in, I was like, hey Dan, I got to go now. I'm going to the airport. And he's just like, man, catch up. I'm like, rightio. And then I had to go say goodbye to my dad. Hardest thing I ever had to do was say goodbye to my dad. Like, we hugged and he held me so tight. It was really hard, but I had to go. So I've walked out, and as I've shut the door, like I've just heard this massive thud, and I've like peeked through the window curtain. He's just dropped to his knees and he's bawling his eyes out, and it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Wow. It fucking, yeah, it really sucked. But I said to myself, I was like, no, you're doing something good for yourself. Like, you got to look after yourself now. So yeah, we've gone to the airport and I moved over here. And yeah, my mum put me in this fucking private school. I've never been to a private school in my life. I was always in a public school. Yeah, I remember the first day of what it was, Colby College down in Rockingham. And she's like, nah, you're going to a private school, get a better education. I was like, Mum, fucking, you know me, I hate school. I ain't going to do any good. Like, just put me in a public school. We lived right next to Warnborough High School. Like, I could have walked there in 2 minutes. Like, nah, going to Colby College. I was literally at school my first day for 20 minutes. I had a quick meeting with the principal, and then she directed me to my first class, which is woodwork. And all I'd done was I walked in, introduced myself to the teacher. Now, I don't know, some people tell me that I come across aggressive when I talk. I get that quite a lot. I can't help it. I don't know I'm doing it. But literally my teacher turns around, he's like, "Get out of my classroom, smart ass." I was like, what the fuck did I just do? I literally just introduced myself. So already I was in the shit. But yeah, I ended up getting expelled after 6 months for something that I didn't do. And then, yeah, after that, my mum kicked me out because we had this big fight. And yeah, so she kicked me out. I was like, you fucking asked me for how many years to come move over here, and then you just kicked me out of my ass. It's like, yeah, whatever. It was probably half my fault anyways, because as I said, I was a hothead. I was a smart ass, and we had this argument. But yeah, from that day on.
And how old were you then?
6. I think I just turned 17.
Yep.
And yeah, from then I really started getting into drugs. It was more weed at that point. Didn't really hit the hard stuff at all. But yeah, it was more weed. But yeah, and then I started working and shit like that. And but I just lost myself already that day. I was like, nah, this is already fucked. But yeah, I had a girlfriend at the time then. We were fairly young, and when you're young, you love to party and get silly. And yeah, so I mean, I was in and out of work at that point. And I think it was probably about 6 or 7 months later, I'd reached back out to my mum and stepdad and tried to fix things and patch things up. So I moved back in with them. They'd just built a house down in Secret Harbour. I was like, yep, sweet as. And then I went and got an apprenticeship. I was like, all right, sweet, cool. Became a mechanic, everything like that. And probably the biggest regret is doing that, because that's the time when I met the person that introduced me to the hard drug. That is just completely fucked me. And wasn't his fault, but I saw him doing it. We were out one night. We went to a pub with him and his cousin's girlfriend. And yeah, Archie, his name is. And we became pretty close mates before I found this out. And we were out at the pub one night, the old Waikiki Tavern. And we went back to his cousin's house. And yeah, they were fucking doing lines of something that I didn't know about. I was like, what's going on over here? And Archie's like, no, it's all good. I was like, no, fucking, what he's doing? And then he told me, he's like, well, give me some then. And he did adamantly turn around. He's like, no, it's not for you. You don't get into this shit. And I just turned into an asshole and got aggressive. And he's like, oh, fucking whatever. And then, yeah, from that day forward, I started taking some pretty bad shit, which would also be the culprit of fucking my life up and fucking my relationships up. But yeah, came to years and years later where I met my future wife. I'd already known her older brother from when I was an apprentice down at Holden. He fucking hated my guts. When I was an apprentice there, I remember we had this bloody big fight in the workshop. But see, no one really liked him in the workshop. He was a bit of a dick. And because I was a bit of a dick too, we just butted heads. And then, but when I met Anna, because I already knew Anna before I'd split up with my girlfriend at the time, but me and Anna became pretty close. And then when we split up, we started hanging out a lot, and then obviously got together. And then I found out who her brothers were. I was like, oh, fuck. So the first night I've been invited around for family dinner, like they're Italian. So being Italian, like everyone gets together on a Sunday or on the weekend for dinner. I shit myself. I didn't care about meeting the dad or the mum. I was not even scared about that. I was like, no, I've got to go deal with this fucking idiot again. So how's this going to go? But no, it ended up pretty sweet. But yeah, so I mean, me and Anna were together for a long time. As I said, like, it got to the point where we ended up moving in together. We had an apartment up in Vic Park. She had a very good job. I had a good job. Everything was good. And then it came to my mum's like, oh, we're going over to Sydney for Daniel, my brother. We're going over to Sydney for his 25th birthday. It was supposed to be a surprise. So he didn't know anyone was coming. And I was like, oh yeah, sweet as, no worries. And so Anna was coming. Before that, it got to the point where I said to my mum, I was like, I'm going to propose to Anna. I'd done the right thing. Like, her family had been to town. I was like, I'm going to do the right thing. So I asked the father for his blessing, and we had a big chat. It's like, yep, all good. If that's what you want to do, you got my blessing. So I would organise to do it on top of the Harbour Bridge. So we booked the Harbour Bridge climb.
Oh, yeah.
We spoke to the guy, so me and Anna could be right at the front, because the guy was going to have the camera on me when I was kneeling down doing all that. Everything was done, dusted, organised. And my mum, her original engagement ring, she gave to me, so she passed it down. Got it resized for Anna's finger, everything like that. Everything was set in place. But yeah, this one phone call. I was on the phone to my dad. I remember I was at the pub. It's on Manning Road somewhere in Waterford, whatever the pub is there. But I was sitting there one day by myself after work on the phone to my dad. I would usually call him once a week just to have a yarn. We had this bit of an argument. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I mean, I swear a lot. You probably already noticed. I swear a lot. And yeah, my dad's like, oh, stop bloody swearing. And he had to go at me. And I just told him, shut the fuck up, cunt. That was my exact words, and hung up on him. And that was the last time I spoke to my dad. Because 2 weeks later, we were going over to Sydney. Now, my brother and dad at that time weren't getting along. And I told my dad on the same phone call, I was like, I don't care what your fucking excuse is. I'm coming down to get you, and you're coming to Daniel's birthday. Hey, if you can't afford it, I'll pay for it. But yeah, anyway, so after that argument, I hung up the phone. I hadn't spoken to her for a week. And yeah, so I was at work this one particular day, and I'd started getting this weird migraine, like right here in the middle of my head. I've never experienced anything like it. And yeah, it went on for a couple of days, and I was losing sleep as well, and it was affecting my job. And it got to the point where my bosses actually turned around and he's like, look, maybe it's best if you just take the next day or so off and go to the doctors and just, get something checked out. So yeah, no, all good, mate, no worries. So I ended up taking the rest of the week off because it just didn't go away. It was that bad. It was like someone having a pole and just sitting there smashing into your forehead. It was so brutal. But yeah, so it got to the end of the week, and so we're all at the airport. I tried to call my dad for a couple of days to apologise about the argument and to organise for me to come down and get him, and to obviously meet Anna, because obviously they'd never met, so it was going to be my future fiance. They need to at least meet. I couldn't get through to him. And I was like, oh, fucking whatever. And then, yeah, so it came to the night that we were going to the airport. So we're at the airport, literally just as we got our tickets. I tried to call my dad again. I still got no answer. And I turned around. This was when it all started getting really weird. Like, I turned around to Mum, and I was like, what if he's dead? And she's like, she fucking hit me across the back of the head. She's like, don't be fucking stupid. Like, he's probably just at a friend's house, something like that, whatever. I was like, yeah, sweet as. It's like, just wait until we get there later tonight and give him another phone call. It's like, yep, sweet as. So yeah, we done that. staying up at the Rocks in Sydney and tried to give another phone call, got no answer. So the next morning was the morning that I was supposed to be taking Anna down to see my dad, and that was also the day of my brother's birthday party. So yeah, the next morning I've tried to call him again and got no answer, and then shit just triggered, and so Anna's like, "Oh, do you still want me to come down with you? Like, any other time I would have been like, yeah, of course, babe, no worries." But something just made me say, no, you just stay here, go shopping with mum, get a nice outfit for tonight. It's like, oh, okay. I was like, you'll meet dad tonight. All right, no worries. So I got on the train. So a couple of my mates were actually picking me up from Blacktown train station. So it's like a 45-minute train ride from the city down to Blacktown. They picked me up. And so, yeah, I mean, I smoked weed. And so did they. So did my dad, obviously. But yeah, as soon as they picked me up from the train station, they're like, "Oh, do you want to go back to our place first and we'll have a bit of a session, or do you just want to go see dad?" Because I told them that I couldn't get through to him. Any other day of the week, I'd be like, "Yeah, let's go fucking roll a joint, let's go get high, and then we'll go get my dad." But I said, nah, we'll just go straight to dad's house. Something's not right. They're like, "Oh yeah, sweet." We got to the front of the units. We grew up in a set of units there. He lived right at the back. So yeah, we were all walking down. Went and knocked on the door. All the curtains are shut. So I've knocked on the door. Got nothing, no answer. Yeah, none of the windows were open. It's like, oh. But so in our unit, our garage was like, Dad always left our garage unlocked, and the back sliding door through the backyard unlocked. So when me and my brother came home at stupid o'clock in the night, we could get through. It's like, oh, fucking, I'll just go through the back. Yeah, garage is open, everything like that. Instead of going straight to the back sliding door, because I thought he probably was just asleep, I've just gone straight around to his bedroom and started knocking on his bedroom window and shit like that for a couple of minutes, got nothing. And then one of my mates has yelled out, I didn't even notice it. But yeah, one of my mates has yelled out and said, "Hey man, like, you need to fucking get here now." So the actual curtain was the only curtain in the house that was actually creaked open just a tiny bit. And he said, "Hey man, like, there's someone naked passed out on your dad's floor." So I've like ran around, and from what I've seen, it looked to me like it was like a Middle Eastern or an Aboriginal or something like that, just because of the color of the skin. And it's like, but they were naked and like had really long hair and this really long beard. And I was like, what the fuck is that? So I freaked out. So I ran back around and tried to pry open one of the windows into the house, and it wouldn't fucking get it. So I've just literally just kicked the fucking door in and ran inside, and yeah, my dad, well, from what I thought was my dad, lying there naked on the floor, yeah, dead. And literally instantly that whole headache thing, because up until that point, that whole headache thing that I had was still there up until that second, and it instantly went away. But I freaked out. Obviously I freaked out and ran outside, and one of our old neighbours, Diane, heard me, and I hadn't seen Diane in 10 years, 12 years, and she's run around like seeing what's going on, and she recognised me. I was like, "Can you go inside and make sure that's my dad?" And so she's had to go in and identify him, and yeah, it's like, yeah, that's your dad. So yeah, like, he was naked and decomposed there for a week, and that's why the whole skin colour is a bit different, because obviously it had gone a little bit yellow. But also I didn't really recognise him because I'd never seen my dad with long hair and a long beard before. Like a kind of, from what I can still remember, like kind of, I'm not religious, but looked like sort of like a Jesus sort of thing, you know what I mean? And yeah, like completely freaked out. Like, and then so Diane ended up calling my mum. I gave her the number, and they were up in the city. And Diane's told her what's just happened. And like a normal drive from there down to there would have been like just over an hour. I think if I can remember right, they got there in like 35 minutes. Their taxi driver just fucking went through everything. But yeah, I hadn't seen my brother in like probably the same amount of time, probably 10 years, something like that. And yeah, had to see him there. And so it was a fucking real shit day. But it was really weird. The whole headache thing is like, I don't believe in superstitions or if that's the right word for it, or destiny, whatever it's supposed to be. But it's like I was supposed to be the one to find my dad, because the people that live around in our units and even our neighbours and stuff like that next to the units every day checked on my dad because he wasn't well. Everyone knew my dad. Like everyone every day checked on my dad. For some reason, for a whole week, no one bothered to knock on the door. It's like, no. I had to find my dad.
Wow.
But yeah, we ended up still having my brother's birthday that night because he didn't want to cancel it. He's like, so when he got there, he's like, no, I'm still going to have my party. And he found out what I was going to be doing with Anna on Harbour Bridge, which was the next day, which was Father's Day, believe it or not, which fucking sucks. But he's like, I don't want you to do it on Harbour Bridge. I want you to do it at my party tonight. I want to be there for it. Me and my brother have never been close. We were never close. Unfortunately, the death of my father brought us closer than we ever were. So yeah, I proposed to Anna that night, and that kind of, like, yeah, it was
crazy day, man.
It was really fucked, man. Like, it's not something that I really want anyone to go through. But yeah, since that day, my mental state has been a fucking wreck, an absolute wreck, and it can't be an excuse, but that is my excuse for my mental health issues. And that especially brought me in a massive downward spiral of hard drug use, like big time. And yeah, because of that, like years later, it got to one point, like, after my dad's funeral and everything like that, I think it was about a year later, that was the second year. Because coming up to Father, as I said, like happened the day before Father's Day. So around that time, I was just always down, like just fucking shit. And yeah, the second year, I remember my wife, it wasn't the wife yet, but my fiance, she was doing the dishes, and I had my dad's ashes still in the box. I haven't even opened them from the actual funeral place, wherever they came from. Still in the white box, in the sealed box. And I was sitting there holding them. She's like, oh, you're always down around this time of the year. Fucking why don't you just go bloody get rid of them? Like, stop being so down about it. And I just blacked out. And all I remember was like she was doing the dishes, and then all of a sudden I came to, and suddenly the dishes were pissed off over there and smashed. And so yeah, I grabbed my dad's ashes and got me truck and pissed off down to the beach, and took a carton of piss with me and just sat there and drank myself absolutely stupid, and done probably one of the biggest regrets of my life. Chopped his ashes open. My dad hated the water, didn't like it at all. Pretty sure I remember one day he actually said, "Do not ever put me in the ocean." But yeah, I just fucking sat there and just got rid of it. I hate myself for that. But I mean, yeah, it's got to the point where, yeah, me and my wife finally got married in 2013, and 11 months later we were divorced because of my drug use, because of my depression. That day that she split up with me, I was hanging off Free Road Bridge on Munajong Road, and fucking yeah, the cops were called, and I didn't have the balls to let go, but I was just sitting there dangling. And yeah, the cops came and yeah, tried to talk me out, and they ended up pulling me up anyways. And the reason they got me up is because like, no, we're going to take you home and take you back to your wife. So I believed them. They didn't take me there. They took me straight down to the hospital. Super scared. I was shit scared. I ended up running out of hospital after an hour and calling my ex-wife or calling my wife. And I was like, please come and get me. I don't want to be here. I'm super scared. And she ended up coming and get me anyways. And then the cops called her looking for me, saying, if Jake's not back here in 20 minutes, we're sending a dog squad out and the helicopter. So she took me down there. And then, yeah, that's the last day I was in that house. And then I really went on a massive spiral, like big time. Even worse than what I was, up to the point where I actually thought I was going to die from the amount of drugs I was taking. I wasn't happy. My mum wasn't talking to me because before me and my wife got married, my mum had hurt my wife. She'd organised a day for to go down with my mum and my sister. My little sister was going to be our flower girl. And then, yeah, supposedly my mum wasn't there and didn't answer. And anyways, I got a phone call from my wife crying, telling me what's going on. And I'd had enough of my mum. So I fucking rang my mum and blasted the absolute shit out. I said, you're a fucking piece of shit. You're a cunt. You're not welcome at my wedding. Stay the fuck away from my family. And yeah, so obviously she wasn't talking to me. And I ended up living with a mate after me and Anna split up. And yeah, as I said, I was really fucked up on drugs. And I hadn't really spoken to my brother much at all. And I was sitting out the back, and it just got to a point where I broke down. And I called my brother. I was like, I need help. Like, I need help now. And he's like, where are you? I was like, I'm at my mate. I gave him the address. He's like, pack your shit right now. I'm not even taking any of your fucking excuses. You're coming with us right now. So like, yep, no worries. So I went there, and they were taking me there to like try and turn myself around. But I still done the same dumb shit. It's like, they've just like stopped their life to help me. I mean, yes, he's my brother and shit, but he didn't have to fucking come. But like, I did stop a lot of what I was doing, but still not enough. But then I met the now mother of my children. And when I met her, it was like, fuck, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Awesome girl, like beautiful girl. And I spent a lot of time with her when we first met, like a lot of time. I fell in love with her. And I was like, this is someone that I want to have children with. It, like, got to that point. But I wasn't spending a lot of time back at my brother's house. And so I got to a point, I went back there one day because I got a message from his wife. Like, it's like, oh, are you ever coming back? Blah, blah. So I ended up going back there, and we had an argument in the kitchen. And I can't remember what it was about, but I fucking absolutely blew up. And my brother's standing right next to me, and I said to his wife, I fucking got in her face and started blasting her and told her I was going to slit her throat. And yeah, that was obviously the day now that my brother and sister stopped talking to me too. So, I had like my mum that's not talking to me, brother and sister not talking to me, fucking dad's dead. I was like, fucking, here we go again, different spot. But it wasn't their fault, it was my fault. I've never put any blame on anyone else. Maybe I did at the time, or maybe used excuses, but I still, these days, it's all, I know it's my fault. And yeah, so I mean, me and the mother of my children ended up living together. And then I think it was only about 6 months into our relationship, because we did talk about it, and she's like, because one thing I wanted to have my kid before I was 30. I just had that number in my head because I didn't want to be an old prick when he's old enough, like in his teens, that I can't run around with him at footy and stuff. But yeah, so she was pregnant. I think it was about 6-7 months into our relationship, and I was like, all right, I've got to sort myself out now. This is fucking all guns blazing. Still didn't. Still fucking turned to drugs. I just had this weak spot because I was so addicted to anything that made my pain go away, and that turned everything around in my life to fucking absolute shit. And you know, it's true what they say about that sort of crap. You lose everything. You do. You lose your fucking house. You lose your wife. You lose your money. You lose your cars. You lose your life. My wife didn't try and really help me that much at all in terms of like trying to rehabilitate. She just put up with my shit. But the mother of my children, she did try. She tried a lot. She tried everything. You know, we ended up having another kid as well, my daughter. And yes, she tried so many times, and it got to the point where we actually admitted myself into a mental hospital. And I agreed to that because I got home one night and she had 2 doctors sitting there. It was like, what do they call it? An intervention.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I agreed to go to a mental hospital. And I done that. This just didn't happen. Like, nothing ever fucking changed me. Everyone tried. The only person that's never tried to actually help me in any sort of sense at all is my mum. Now, I don't care how old anyone is. Everyone always needs their mum because that's their comfort zone, you know what I mean? They just need that comfort. I don't care if you're bloody 10 years old, 20, 50. It's always good to have that mum for comfort. But she's never tried to help me. Every time I fucked up, she just disowns me from the family. It's like, well, how much more do you want to fuck my head? So, yeah, it got to the point where the mother of my kids as well tried so hard, like extremely hard. She put up with a lot of shit, but it got to a point where, yeah, the cops called one day because we had this argument. It wasn't her that called the cops; it was actually the next door neighbour. You know, but because it was classed as a domestic dispute, they had to rock up. But I'd done bad things, like really, really bad things. Like, yeah, I've never told anyone. It got to a point where I was so angry one day when me and her were having an argument. She was holding my daughter, and I had the audacity to fucking throw a beer bottle in her direction while she's holding my daughter. I've never ever told anyone that in my life. Only she knows that, or she's probably told people. I feel so fucking low about that, especially as a father. Like, she was holding my 6-month-old daughter, and just because I couldn't fucking handle shit, I've thrown a bottle in that direction and nearly hit them. I mean, obviously I'm glad it didn't, but you know, if it did, what next? But like, it got to the point where I ended up having to break up. Well, no, she broke up with me, obviously, because of what I've been doing. And yeah, it's like you sit back and it's like you go from having everything that you want to having fucking no family that wants you around anymore because of the lifestyle that you choose. And you know, the thing that helps me these days is music. That's why it's not that I want to play music, it's because I have to play music. Because when I play music, when I'm sitting behind that drum kit, whether it's in front of 10 people or 50 or whatever we get at gigs, or 100, like everything just goes away. And it's like for that half an hour where you're playing to people and making them happy, it makes me happy, and I just completely zone out. And like, I feel that I still have not these days paid enough attention to my own children than I have to my music. And now it's getting to the point where, like, I think I told you just before, I was told the other day that my kids don't even need me in their life. And they don't even care. I mean, they're only 5 and 6, but like they're starting to remember things now. There's one thing that I'll never do. I'll never disown my children. I'd never ever do that in my life. Like my mum has done that. She's done it right now. Like she's done it again. Like literally because of some fucking Christmas presents last year that I said I'd buy my own kids. But I'm just too outspoken, and that's why my family doesn't like me. I'm different to them. But like, yeah, it's getting to the point now where, because I'm not spending enough time with my kids, they're starting to realize that, and, you know, they don't really care if they come to my house anymore or not. And yeah, it hurts when you get told that, yeah, your kids don't care. And it's, you know, like, well, is that a fucking wake up call? Is it a wake up call? I don't know. I still don't know. I still make excuses. But the thing is, like, you know, out there in the real world, I put on this happy face, you know, I don't want to sit there and tell people my fucking issues. Everyone else has got their own problems. And I just feel that people just don't give a shit anyways, because why would they? It's just a sob story. Oh, it's just looking for attention. I don't want attention. That's why I don't talk about my shit. If I wanted attention, I'd fucking sit there and talk about it all the time. But, like, it's getting to a point now where it's like, well, sort your life out and change your ways. I mean, I'm completely sober off that. I mean, not off this. I still have my drink. I like beer. So what? The other stuff, I've been sober for a fairly long time now. And I'm a lot healthier. I look a lot healthier. As I said, I could notice that in those photos. But I still don't know how to, like, go about life in terms of with my children, because I'm still scared about being a father, even though I wanted to be a father. But as I said, I don't want to be a disappointment to them, because I still feel that I'm not good enough for them anyways. But I mean, I also don't have...
That's such a massive thing, man. To, like, for you to have that thought in itself is, first of all, not very healthy.
No, it's not. But that's the truth.
It is, maybe. But then again, if you want to change that, if you don't want them to go through the same thing as you went through, like, you are the only person that can change that.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
And again, one of the things I remember you said to me that really hit home hard was, I think it was when you said that after you guys broke up, and you said that you you didn't want to be, like, you didn't want them to be ashamed of you, of who you were. And if that sort of is something that you take as fuel to turn everything around, then I think that would be that should steer in the right direction no matter what, because you have those two little people,
yeah,
that hopefully will have you for the rest of their lives.
Oh, and they will. I mean, like, these days I'm happy in who I am now, and I'm not going to change who I am. I've changed my ways, obviously.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm still in this mental state where I don't think that I'm good enough for my children. And is that why the mother said that the other day? I don't know.
Have you ever had any? Have you ever had any professional help to deal with the death of your?
I tried that several times.
Right.
2013, 2014, I went, tried a couple of times to go to a professional and talk. It just didn't do anything. You know, I was put on medication. The medication made me worse. The mentality I went in to the professionals with, though, which someone told me, was because I was going in there in the state, because what I think is, well, that's their job and they get paid to sit there and listen to my bullshit. They don't know me. They don't care. So what's the use of me talking to them? Because it's not going to help me. But that's the state I went in.
Yeah.
Of course it's not going to help because that's what you're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get out of it what you put into it.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you go in there and say it's not going to work, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I put absolutely nothing back into it, and that's why it didn't help.
Yeah.
I thought about doing it these days, but I've dealt with things a lot different now compared to what I have back then. As I said, like I'm happy within myself now. I'm actually confident within myself. I used to have a lot of issues with my like how I looked. I didn't think I was good enough for anyone or anything like that. But these days I'm a lot more confident in myself. I find it a lot more easier to talk to people. I'm more sociable. But it's just that one thing where I still think that I'm not good enough for my kids. Because, like, as I said, I don't want them growing up. Yes, I'll be around, but like I'll never leave them, as I said. But I don't want them growing up thinking, well, Dad's just a useless piece of shit.
Then don't be. Then,
no, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm just doing me right now, and me right now is my music, and I enjoy my music. It makes me happy, and that's what I want to do.
Yeah,
I want to play my music, and obviously I want my kids to be a part of that as well. Like I want them to show. I want to show them how to play music once they're ready. Like I want them to be a part of that and my life, but I just don't want them to think that I'm a failure because I don't have the whole world to give to them. But I know they don't care about that. It's not about like possessions and shit like that. It's about being there for them.
Exactly. That's all you can do. And like every moment you spend with them, you should just give them your 100% attention.
Yeah. But I don't do that enough even, and that's very it's shit on my side. Like I've been putting other things before them, which it should be the complete opposite. My kids are supposed to come first, before anything else. But I don't know, man. Like, yeah, fuck, I don't know. It's a bit hard to explain, but
look. I think everybody goes through hard times. What you've been through is probably a bit more than the average person. Like it's finding your dad the way you did would mess up most people. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And by the way, I completely forgot to ask. Like, did they ever find out how he died?
Cirrhosis.
Right.
That was the outcome. So one thing that actually really fucked with that situation as well. So when I found him, I think it was a couple of days later. I got a phone call from the coroner, who was obviously with his body doing the investigation, and he called me to get permission to take out a piece of his brain or something like that, just for some research on what has happened. And I was like, yeah, sweet as. And he's like, oh, look, well, from my eyes, the cause was cirrhosis. And so pretty much, liver failure. He was dead before he hit the floor. Because he was also telling me the way I found my dad, his head was like, because he was lying on the ground, but like his head was like perched up on the couch like that. And so when he's fallen, like, so he's died up here and then fallen, and there's this little bone in the back of your neck which is so minute. But the coroner was telling me that it's like, if we're alive, it's pretty much like nearly impossible to break this bone. Like near on impossible. Even if you tried, you probably couldn't break it. But he found that was broken because his body was completely at ease and nothing was under pressure at all.
Right.
And so as I said, like my dad was naked. there was no lights on, no TV on, no nothing. Now, I know for a fact my dad sleeps naked. He was right next to the fridge. So I know for a fact he would have got up in the middle of the night, going to the fridge to get a drink, and then going back to bed. But obviously he's died going to get a drink. And that's what I said to Cron. I was like, I already know, man, like my dad's a heavy drinker. Like he was a carton or more a day easily. And so like, yep, sweet as, thanks for the phone call. You can do whatever you want with him. Just make sure he comes to the funeral, please. So just as a joke. It's like, yeah, all good. When I got back here after the couple of weeks of what happened, I was at home after work one day and the cops had rocked up to mine and my missus' apartment. And I was like, oh, what's up? And they're like, oh, do you mind coming down to the police station? And I was like, why? It's like, oh, just to question you about your father's death. It's like, why do you go to question me for? Oh, can you just come down, like, you're not in trouble, blah, blah. I was like, whatever. So, yeah, I've gone down there with them. And they're asking me these questions. Like, oh, so what were you doing leading up to the events? And where were you? And this and that. They started interrogating me because they've now turned around and say, oh, sorry, the findings of your dad's death were inconclusive. Now we're treating it as suspicious. I'm like, so you're asking me what I was doing, like I fucking had something to do with my dad's death. And I was like, and they asked me these weird things like, oh, what did you smell when you walked in and when you saw your dad? I was like, dude, I don't know. It was such a fucking rush. I don't remember the shit at all. I remember seeing my dad and then I ran out, like, and so I've left there all confused. They're like, oh, we'll get back to you. We've got to now contact the detectives over in Sydney that was looking after your dad's case. I was like, yeah, please do. Never, ever heard, still to this day, never heard back. I've tried to call them so many times. I've never heard back. So they've left me confused because as they said, oh, no, we're now treating it suspicious. The findings of your dad's death were inconclusive. Now, I know for a fact the coroner himself called me and said it was cirrhosis. Mm-hmm. That's in my back of the head, like, all good. But because of these cops turning around and saying, oh, nah, we're treating it suspicious, and then ask me these ridiculous questions, that's another thing that's, like, left in the back of my mind. It's like, well, I've never had any time to be at peace with it because they ruined it. I wasn't able to start my grieving process because they ruined it. So I've always been at that state where it's like, well, it's not finished yet. Because I haven't had that finish line with my dad's death because of them knocking on the bloody door. Yeah. So it's just a continuous thing. Every day. Like, literally, there doesn't go an hour out of any day of the week where my dad's death goes in my head. Like, every single day, every hour, it's there. Everything's going through my mind. That's all in my head every day. And, like,
shit, man. That's
it's crazy,
heavy.
Man.
That's heavy.
Like, I wake up, like, the little sleep that I do get, I wake up, like, sometimes I'm screaming, I'm sweating. I mean, a lot of people go for that anyways. But that's just where my head is at. And because of that, yeah, I've never been able to move forward. Like, I've still never been able to grieve. I don't know how to grieve. I don't know what it's supposed to be like, but I don't think I have. So I said, like, the one happy place I got is music.
Yeah.
And that's why I love playing music now. So it's easy because you can just get up there and just smack some drums, have some anger management, and play some music for play your mates, and yeah, happy days. And
yeah, it's heavy, man.
It is heavy, man. It's heavy metal.
Yeah.
Heavy
but
metal.
man, like how do we how do you become the person that's not, how do you become the father you want to be to your kids?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it?
$1 million answer.
I don't have the answer for that right now because I'm still trying to figure that out myself. If I had the answer, I would be that. But I've got to start somewhere, and the starting process is I need to be there more for my children. I can't keep using any other excuses not to be there for my children. My children have to come first. So it's not like, well, I don't have the answer right now, but I need to start making that answer myself. Everyone will have their own answer. There shouldn't be one answer for that. But I'm going to start my own answer.
We all have different different paths in life.
But that's what I need to do. I just need to start my own answer, and I need to start quick because otherwise they're not going to want to be around me. And you know what? I wouldn't blame them. But I can't let it get to that. So I need to start making my own answer for your question, and that is, it's the most simplest thing. Just be there for your kids. Simple as that. Stop being a dick. So, you know, like me and my ex have this written agreement that she wanted to do. You know, I have my kids every second weekend, which I have been. I've been having them every second weekend. I've been doing that. There has been times where she's asked me to have them more. I've turned around and said, no, this is my weekend off. And she has a go at me. It's like, well, you wanted this written agreement. You know, some parts that she hasn't stuck to, some parts I haven't stuck to. But it's like, I'm trying. I literally am. I'll say that. I'm trying. I'm a lot better than what I used to be, but it's still not good enough. Not for her. It's just not good enough for my children.
Yeah.
You know, I wish I could flick a switch and everything would be all good, hunky dory. You know, like my kids should be living with me. Like it should be a family. Like I don't like this broken family bullshit. That's the way I was brought up. That's not what I wanted for my children. But you know, it's not their fault. But what I make of the situation is, yeah, probably the answer is like, well, start spending more time with your kids. Probably make things a lot easier. But it's also a lot harder. You know, it's a lot harder to spend more time with the kids when you don't live with them. It's not like I don't want to see them every day. It's just I can't. You know, like the last thing I want to go and do is fucking hang around and see my bloody my ex every second day. Another thing is, like, I get yelled at for having a relationship, like a partner. It's like I'm not allowed to have a partner because now, because I have a partner, suppose I'm not putting my kids first. It's like, well, hang on a sec, like that's got nothing to do with that. I'm still allowed to live my life. Yes, you tried to help me, but you chose to be a single mother too. We didn't have to break up. You wanted that. I didn't. But yeah, it's very hard, man. Like broken families, it's always going to turn to shit. It's always going to be shit, no matter what. Like the person that has sole custody is always going to put shit on the person that doesn't.
Oh, I was 9 years old when my mum and dad got divorced, so I know all about it. I'm a product of it myself.
Yeah. It sucks.
It does. Sometimes it's for the better. Like looking back on it, like that was the best thing that could happen was my mom and dad getting divorced. But as a 9-year-old, you just don't want it to happen.
Yeah. That's a hard age to do it too.
I don't think unless you're an adult, unless you're in your teens, I don't think there's a right or wrong age at it, man. But I understand what you mean. Like obviously, if you're 2 or 3, like you probably wouldn't really remember it.
No.
But yeah, I remember it. I remember all of it. Again, by no means in any way, shape, or form as traumatic as everything you've experienced, but nevertheless, I mean, yeah, the whole broken family thing. I don't think that's what anybody wants for their kids to experience. I suppose at the end of the day, you know, it's just something that again, it puts everything back on your lap and said, look, you are the only person that can change you. anyone else, doesn't matter what anyone else think or anyone else suggests. Like you said, if you try to go and talk to like a so-called professional,
so cool.
it's up to you. Like it's the same thing. If you don't want to give up drugs and you go into rehab and stuff, like if you have decided not to give it up, then it's very unlikely it's going to happen. So I'm by no means I'm not a professional myself, but I think you, like, not you, but people in general need to understand that they are the only person that can change themselves.
Oh yeah, of course.
And if you don't want it, then it's not going to happen. And as black and white as it sounds, it's as simple as that too. You have to understand. You have to feel it. Like, it has to be the same as breathing fresh air every morning. Or going to bed at night. It's something you just know. It's probably a stupid metaphor, but it's something that just has to be as basic as that. It's something I want this more than anything. And it's something that just becomes second nature. So, second nature at the same way as it's like, you're going to breathe, you're going to eat and drink every day to survive and stuff. And that's just a part of your DNA, that I am this person. If I'm not that person now, that is who I want to be more than anything else. That doesn't mean you can't play music. It doesn't mean you can't do a lot of other things. But you can choose to be a good person. And that good person can be to anyone in your life. It can be to your kids. It can be to your bandmates. It can be to your ex-partner. The fact that you decide and said, I want to take... it sounds like you have taken responsibility for at least most of the things that have happened in your past. Might not have had the proper time to sort of really process finding your dad like that, and a couple of the other incidents you mentioned about, like, your mom and your ex-partner and stuff. But the fact is, if you realized that was all shit, and I really regret what I did, and I was trying to call up and I was trying to make amends with these persons, then that shows that you have, like, you have empathy, like, you have grief, like, you are capable of those feelings. But whatever that is, like, you can decide right now and saying that's it. I decide to make that change. You can make that change tomorrow, or next week, or next month, or next year. But it's without sounding like a priest or a Jesus lover. Like, you can find the light. You make that call. Like, I'm by no means like religious in any way, shape or form again. But I do believe in myself. I do believe that if I make that commitment, and sometimes you fail. Like, I've failed miserably on many things that I've tried to achieve, whether it's big or small, whether it's, the good old thing about, losing weight or wanting to achieve a certain fitness goal or whatever, or if it's something bigger, like career-wise or lifestyle-wise or family-wise. But as long as you know you want it and you keep trying, then it's okay to fail. Then it's fine. It's okay, because you are doing it with all the right intentions. And I know how much you love your kids. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you just need to tell yourself that more. So, to tell yourself how important they are to you. Because then you reaffirm that. That's again, really beautiful things about having conversations, because you get to talk about stuff. And when you say stuff, it manifests in a different way in your own brain. Like, a lot of the time when I talk to people and I say stuff, I can sometimes leave after and go like, yeah, I'm right. I've actually never thought about it that way until I said it to someone. Whether that's something whether I've recorded on a podcast, or whether it was our conversation a couple of weeks or months ago, or however long it was, or whether it's something I was talking to Jay about, or my mom, or someone else about. But sometimes just having a conversation can be almost like therapy, which I felt it was. I felt it was therapy for me when you and I had a chat. And it was so profound. It was so deep. It was so. It was again at the same time, it was so unexpected. It was like surely it can't get any worse or any crazier now. And then you kept going. It's like, wow, man! Like, it was. Like, I remember you said as well, like, such a roller coaster of a day, emotional. That day. We were both sitting, I have tears in my eyes, I was crying, man, and stuff, because it hits home. But dude, you're still here. You didn't jump off the bridge. Drugs didn't kill you. And you haven't gone back to drugs. And I remember you said that you're even, like, you gave up that section of friends. You gave up that group of friends that you were.
Oh, that's the thing. Like, once you give up that life, like, people that you know or have around you just diminish because, well, they're the only people that you had around.
Yeah, but you made that. But you made that sacrifice. You said, I know I need to cut them out of my life to get to get to a better place and to build a bridge to sort of greener grass over here. But you can always do that. And you know the good old saying, like, the grass is always greener on the other side. You can always keep chasing something else, but eventually you got to say, look, maybe it's not green on the other side. Maybe it's green where I'm at. I just need to mow the lawn more and, put some more fertilizer on it and make sure that what I have right here and make what I have right here good.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna keep chasing something else, if you're gonna keep overanalyze stuff, then it's gonna get hazy, man. And I think, I know how important kids are to myself as well. That's why a lot of the stuff that you were saying really sort of, again, for me, put stuff in perspective as well. Like, I love my kids again more than anything. I love my wife and my little family. So again, so that love as a parent feels like you have that same love. And if you feel like sometimes that you don't deserve that or something like that, man, that's not good, man.
No, it's not. But it's reality.
Yeah, but then have you then again, like I said, I'm not a professional anyway, but again, it's like, find out, like own it. So if it is, why are you not?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I felt like I was owning it, and then I get told that I'm not.
Yeah,
this is the thing. Like, things are thrown in your head when you think that you are doing a good job, and then you get told that you're actually not. Of course, you're gonna still fucking think the same thing. That's the thing. Like, when I got clean and got off all that stupid shit, like, I thought, well, okay, I am being a good dad. I know I'm a good dad. I'll never ever say that about myself. I know I'm a good dad because I'm there for my kids. When I have them, I give them everything they need. And as I said, like, they are always fed. I give them what I never had anyways. Like, that's good enough for me. Like, I don't need to give them bloody these fucking computers and shit like that. That's nothing to me. I don't like materialistic bullshit. But I still give them what they need. And as I said, like, I was in the mindset, like, I am doing a good job. Like, one thing that we used to do when they were younger, on the Sunday when I had them, so I would have them from the Friday until the Sunday. But on the Sunday morning, I'll take them to Jandakot Airport, and they've got this wicked viewing area with the grass cafe and shit. And we'd literally just sit there and watch the plane take off, and they fucking loved it. And like, that was our thing every day. These days, our thing is, it took a while for my son with his anxiety and everything like that growing up. It was only a couple of years ago where I finally got him to go on a train and a bus and a ferry. So we'd done that all in one day because he was always asking to do it, but he's always he didn't do well in confined spaces.
Right.
So the day that we finally got on the train and then the bus and then the ferry, it was like the best ever. So that's what we do these days as well, when the weather's good. And, we'll go across to South Perth.
Yeah, we
grab some lunch. I'll go a beer. They'll have some juice. We'll have some ice cream, whatever. And then we'll get back. We'll go do the whole thing in reverse again. And they're happy. We do all those sorts of things. It makes them happy and it makes me happy. It's not that I don't think I'm a good father. It's just I get told that I'm not. That I'm still not doing good enough. And that's the thing that gets stuck in your head. Like, no matter what in life, if you think you're good at something but you get told that you're not, it's everyone remembers negative. No one really remembers positive. And that's about anything. It's like women when you're doing, so we're going to go mow the lawn, right? Yeah, let's go mow the lawn. She won't remember that. She'll just remember the fact that you left your beer on the table that was empty and you didn't put it in the bin. You know, little things like that.
Yeah.
It's the negative. Everything is negative in everyone's head these days. Not much is positive. It's just, as I said, like, I might look like I think positive on the outside to a lot of people, but on the inside, it's completely the opposite.
There is a saying I came across, I think, maybe last week, that says a sink doesn't ship because of the water around it. It sinks because of the water inside it.
Yeah, what was it?
A ship doesn't sink
Yeah.
because of the water around it. It sinks because of the water inside it. That means that people can say a lot of bullshit all around you, but it's not until it comes inside that it's going to bring you down.
That's what I was going to say. How's it get inside?
Exactly.
Make it get inside.
Exactly.
Someone's hitting it. Yeah.
But it's up. That metaphor, again, to me is a really good example of what you're saying here. If you know you're a good father, then it shouldn't matter what anyone else is saying. If you know in your heart that you're a good father.
I know. I say all the time, why do you care what anyone thinks about you? I literally, only a couple of days ago, I said it to a mate about something that we're talking about. And I just said, I was like, why do you care what anyone thinks? Who gives a shit? Like, seriously. But I never put that upon myself. What I preach, I don't usually put upon myself.
Yeah.
And, but as I said, like, ever since I was knee high to a duck, I've always been given this negative mentality. Like, the father bringing us up, the one thing he would do was at night time, like, sit on the end of my bed, sometimes until like 2 o'clock in the morning on a school night, and just yell at me for no fucking reason, because he's drunk, stoned, fucking whatever, and he's got no one to yell at, so he just took it out on us.
But that's super heavy, man, and that of course leaves
mental
scars. Of course it does. Yeah.
You can't. Sometimes it's nearly impossible to get that out of your head, no matter what you do or who you talk to, professionally, physically. Like, I feel, or I think that, when you've had that much bullshit, it's near on impossible to even think about happy thoughts.
Can you try and grab that sign right there, down on the floor?
This one.
Yep. That is my mantra. Love is all you need. Love. I know it sounds bullshit. It sounds cliche, but
no, it doesn't.
Love kills hate. Love positive kills negative.
Yeah.
And you gotta. And I know it's so much easier said than done. But you, not you, but people. You gotta make a decision to not let all the negative, because you're 100% right. There's far more negative.
Yeah.
Bad, like, shit sells more than glamour.
Yeah.
And when you go on Facebook, when you go on the news, everything is, it's pandemic, it's fear, it's it's terrorism, it's accidents, it's death, it's all the stuff that keeps people entertained and scared. But at the end of the day, and you're 100% right. Like, people remember all that stuff. Maybe it's because they're exposed. Maybe it's because they're attracted more to it. But at the end of the day, you're the one that has to make the decision of whether you want to let it come inside and bring you down. And it's hard, man. It's so super hard, especially if you aren't in a good spot and more shit happens to you. I'm not saying you're attracting bad stuff, but if bad stuff keeps appearing, keeps happening, and drugs and all that stuff, of course it's gonna be super heavy and it's gonna bring you down, because it's all like that is all negative.
Yeah.
But But you're smart, man. Like, and you're level-headed. You understand this. You understand the mechanics of everything that has happened to you. So that makes you smarter than a lot of people that has had a lot of shit happen to them. It's simply just a matter of saying, look, all right, cool. I'm not going to take any more bullshit. I'm going to use any bullshit that comes to me as fuel to do something positive. So if somebody says, you're not a good father, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to be 10x, 100 times a better father than what you think I am. And I'm going to give everybody more love, give everybody more attention. Whatever it is that are thrown at you, you can reverse it and use it. You can use it as fuel to empower you to do the exact opposite. And like I said, dude, that's so much easier said than done.
Oh yeah, of course.
But you got to make that decision. It's exactly the same thing. You know, you hear people all over, and I use this example a lot as well. Oh, you know, I really want to lose 10 kilos. Then fucking stop eating pizza and drinking pints. That's where everything starts at. You know, you got to change your diet. Then when you start exercising at the same time, and you start substituting bad habits for good habits, you start substituting negative for positive. You start changing hate to love.
Yeah.
The whole world will look different. You aren't gonna you aren't gonna see the negative thing on your Facebook feed because you're just gonna scroll past it. If it's people that constantly post negative stuff, block, unfriend, whatever, delete it, bring it out of your life. But the thing, obviously, I think that probably the two things that bring you most joy in life, or three, is your two kids and music.
Yeah.
So those things has to be included and take up.
Oh, hang on, I got one more thing in there.
Else.
I'm sorry, but bacon as well, man. Bacon brings happiness, man. I'm sorry, but there's one thing that I say: without bacon, life would be a mistake. I don't know, man. I'm that obsessed with bacon, so.
Well, food, yeah, good food in general, yeah, absolutely. But that's again so food is something that again, you know, it's one of the final things in life, yeah, you know, and I mean, obviously on a very different scale because it's not emotional the same way as the satisfaction you can get from music or the emotional, you know, the connection you have to your. Okay.
No, I'm serious. It can be. It depends how much you love food. Food can be so emotional.
Wow.
Seriously,
wow, okay.
Food can be so powerful.
I don't think I have that.
You can tell your story through food. Seriously, like if you're that much into it.
Cool now, all right.
Yeah, that you can actually.
I stand corrected.
Yeah. No, seriously, look up. So like, I love MasterChef, right? Love watching MasterChef.
Yeah, it's wicked.
Last year when they had all the big stars come back, one of the contestants on there, Reynold, the Asian guy, Dessert Wizard.
I remember him. Yeah.
He'd done the Alice in it was Rabbit Down the Hole from Alice in Wonderland. He told a story through that, and that was from his childhood that he had that memory from, and like this thing was ridiculous, and like it also had family history in him. Like he started crying when he was telling a story when he was making shit like that. Like food is powerful, man. Like it can be. I
suppose again, like if that's your thing, you know, that is your creative outlet.
Yeah,
you know, that is you creating food.
Well, you look at how
fair point. Yeah,
Harold and Kumar when they finally get to the bloody White Castle, and they nearly cry because they finally get their bloody
different story, but yeah, fair.
Yeah, I know because they're super fucking high. So, but yeah, like food can be powerful, but I know what you're talking about. Like, but I mean, as I said before, when something's drilled in your head that much, it's very hard to come out of that.
But it's not impossible.
It's not impossible, no.
That's my point.
Nothing's impossible.
Nothing is impossible.
It's just impossible if we think it's impossible.
Yeah, yep.
But
limiting beliefs.
That's the whole negative shit that I've got to get at anyway. Yep. So, but like one thing I can say is like right now over the last couple of years, and I can literally tell you like this completely honestly, if I wasn't playing music, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. that's what music has done to me. And like me being able to play music with my mates has like kept me sane because I have that escape. Even yes, I do have my children, but I need something that gives me that escape from the real world sort of thing. And yeah, like if I couldn't play music, if music was taken away from me, yeah, I probably wouldn't be sitting here.
That's actually how we got chatted.
Yeah.
I started chatting because you were trying to sell your stuff.
Yeah. That's what it's coming down to. It's like, fuck it. Why not? Just fucking don't worry about it. There's been so many times where I've been sitting there and just about to message my band and say, fuck this. Don't worry about it. And there was a couple of times where like my guitarist, Lucas, I've known Lucas for a few years now. And he's like, no man, like no matter what you're going through, we're always going to be here for you. And that's what I love about the music scene. Such a close-knit family, no matter what. There's always going to be that one or two bloody discretions with people, but that's just life.
There would be like that in any aspects, any areas of life.
But like the music scene, so it's like another family. It's like a family you didn't have. Like you can call upon someone that you barely even know, but it's just because you all play music, they'll sit there and listen, like you.
We've spoken for what, 15 minutes? A couple of 6 months ago. That was about it.
Yeah. And then happy days. So, but yeah, so that's my story, man.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. So,
look, the future is good. I know the world is a pandemic and everything is dark and gloomy, but
the only thing I don't like right now is how they're holding up. That, like, going back to the music part, they've got to stop this whole fucking restriction bullshit, because it's taking away people's livelihoods. People have lost businesses now as well. As we know,
man, that's a whole different conversation. But look, I couldn't agree more. It sucks, there's man. Unfortunately not much we can change about it. But yeah, man, I could talk about that for hours as well. Yeah. But you know what? Same thing again. Me personally, I don't let it get to me because it's I can't control it, but I can make the most of what I have in front of me every day, whether that's my music, whether that's my family. Because I would love to go back and see my friends and family back home. We were supposed to go back 6 months ago for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I've got some days where I miss them terribly. And every time I have a point where it feels really dark and heavy, I'm like, there's nothing you can do about it. It's okay. We just, you give them a Skype call, you send them a message saying you're thinking about them, and I hope I'm going to see you soon. But you can't change it. You obviously can go. I could go home. Of course, I could if I really, really, really had to. But the whole logistics and everything that's sort of happening, like you want to take the kids and they're all in school and stuff. Anyway, my whole point is, regardless of what the world looks like, and with all the bullshit restrictions, and I agree 100%. Focus on something else. Focus on something that brings joy and happiness, and look at what you have in front of you.
Yeah.
Forget about the negative shit. Forget about people that are bitching and moaning and whining and on Facebook or messaging you or something like that. Those people are it's almost a fact where you could almost decide to be black and white. I said, I'm only going to talk to people that bring joy in my life. If it's people that are negative, I'm going to be positive back. If people are yelling at me, I'm going to say, look, you're absolutely right, but look, I can't. And even if you disagree with them 100%, it's so hard to argue with someone that agrees with you. It's nearly impossible to agree, to yell at someone who agrees with you. So, so whether it is something, whether it is your ex-partner or an old mate or whatever it is, a family member or something like that, like just say, look, I agree with you 100%, but look, I've got to do something else or make up an excuse or something, and just be polite back. Just if you're negative, I'm going to be positive back. If you're positive, I'm going to be more positive back. That's why I'm saying love is all you need. Like if you equip yourself, if you arm yourself with that and love / positivity / joy / everything everything on the greener side, rather than focusing on everything that's bad and negative. And I understand we've been through some terrible shit. I get that. I haven't. So again, of course, I can only, and like I said, it's so much easier said than done. But my point is, it's not impossible. It's gonna be hard, but it's not impossible. And the love you have for your kids, man, should overwhelm or overcome anything in life. Because they're your kids, man. They aren't going anywhere. Yeah. Ever. Whether you fuck up, and do horrible things or whatever happens, they're always gonna be your blood. Like I had 10 years where I didn't really speak to my dad too. So again, I get that as well. Where you have a falling out, that doesn't mean you can't come back together. I'm really close with my dad now. But shit happens. If you don't die, you move on. And it's up to you to take control and make sure that you don't fuck up. You can't control if anyone else fucks up. And that's the beauty of it. So just like focus on what's in front of you, man. Like always. It's make it a life choice. Get up in the morning and say, today I'm gonna be happy. Today I've even tried to do that myself now. Today I'm gonna just tell someone I don't know that they're doing a great job. Well, I told someone at Woolies the other day. That's actually a fun little story. I'll give that to you just before we wrap it up. I went down there shopping with my son on about 1:30 in the afternoon on a Sunday, and it was packed. And I'm standing there in line, and there's like two people with like a full trolley in front of me. And then the girl behind the counter, she passes down a sign and says, "Can you give that? Can you close my till as soon as you're done?" I said, "Yeah, sweet, no worries." So we put that on our little trolley, and we keep chatting with my son. And you see people lining up behind us, and I'm like, "Guys, I'm so sorry. I got this sign. I think she might finish work at 2:00 or something." And you just see people like, "Fuck that, fuck," and just get super, super upset about it. I was just like, sorry.
Get on the next one.
But all of them were lined up because, like I said, it was mayhem. I don't know why. The whole suburb went shopping at that time or something. I don't know. But then we finally get up to the till, and she starts loading up, and you could see she was sort of kind of stressed because it was constantly people who were sort of yelling, and they were yelling at me because she did it. Like, "Oh, she's fucking like blah blah." And I said to her, "It's like, look, man, I'm so sorry, man. Look, you're doing a great job. I'm sure. Like, are you finishing work?" And I said, "Yeah, man. So it's been a long day." I said, "Look, fantastic, man. I'm sure you must be really happy to get off work, man. Look, I really appreciate what you're doing, man." And she was like, "Oh, thank you so much." Like, and then so now at least she gets to finish the day off on a high.
Yeah.
And I get like, it makes me feel good that I could tell her that I'm really happy for what she's doing, and she's doing a great job. Putting my broccoli in my bags. You know what I mean?
One thing I usually do is just ask them for a high five.
Yeah.
So, like, say for instance, I've gone up to the bar, right, and ordered a beer. It's like, "Oh, can I get a Corona and a high five?" They understand the Corona part, but there's been one time they're like, "What's that?" I was like, "Oh, can I get a Corona and a high five?" And she's gone and asked the manager, she's like, "Oh, do we sell a high five?" And the manager's like, "Come on." It's like, "Oh, come on." And yeah, they get a kick out of it.
Be fun, happy,
No one likes going to a job, but if someone can turn around and like make that 5 minutes of like
happiness, 5 seconds, man. Yeah. It can literally just be a compliment and say, thank you. I really appreciate what you've done. Thank you. You're doing a great job. That's what, 3 seconds?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. It takes everything, like something so small like that to change someone's day. It's so easy.
That's what I mean. And if you just make that conscious decision to just not be affected by all the dickheads that are going to be negative and yell at you and stuff, and if they do that, just give them positive back. Agree with them, saying, "Look, wow, it's a shit day. Yeah, I know, it's really shit, isn't it? The sun is shining. It's like, oh, high five. Like, it's so difficult to combat that, or just walk away. It's honest. Scrolling down, not having any of this. Block. No, honestly. Yeah. Like, I do that every now and then. If I see if there's this person must have had a really bad day. Oh, it's had a bad day again. It's not fun. I don't have any. This just either just block or unfriend or unsee or whatever it is, or mute for 30 days or something. I don't need that. I don't need that.
No, fuck that. But I'm literally going to pee my pants.
Yeah, cool, man. Let's wrap it up, dude.
Sorry, man. I'm going to pee my pants. I'm busting, go to the toilet.
Easy, man.
Valley, man. No,
really appreciate the stories, brother.
No, I really appreciate having us on. And I don't know, if one person listens to it or 100 people and they can see a story like that, and that can change their bloody perspective on life, it's better than nothing. So
yeah.
But as I said, I've never told the story really to anyone, so it's actually good to get it out. It's really good.
Fantastic.
So, I appreciate it.
I hope it helps, man.
It will help.
Cool.
It's going to help me go on the toilet right now.
Easy, man. Cool, man.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers, dude.